2023. 220 or 30 million Nigerians. 93 million registered voters or thereabout. What was the turnout? 26% of 93 million.
Abysmal.
What did he score? 36.6% of the vote. 36% not of 230 million, of 36% of 26% of 93 million. There is no mandate. In that sense, with all the disputes about the election rested, I have no problem with it. He's rested. Supreme Court has spoken. He is the president. But this president has only 36% of the vote. In mathematical terms, a failure.
Have a
That is where we should be beginning now, that you have 36% of 93 million.
So there is no national acceptance.
That's the point. It's not about electricity.
There's
It's not about road.
people who voted President Bola Tinubu.
It does not reflect. It's not his problem.
Isn't that a failure of the Nigerian people who sit at home, who sit back and
It
never...
is not their failure. It is the failure of the way the constitution is drafted. If 200,000 people were to participate in the presidential election and the winner is declared, he'll be running around the country implementing policies. On the state of the nation and the state of our democracy for 25 years, quarter of a century, even though the backdrop is a one-year presidency. Tinubu. Shall we come ask me, what did President Muhammad Buhari say when he was inaugurated years ago? What happened a year after that inauguration? What did he promise the country the day he was sworn in for the second and final presidential term? What happened the year after? What did President Jonathan promise the country when he was sworn in the first time? What did Obasanjo Yar'Adua promise the nation? The list is endless. After Bola Tinubu's 1 year, there will be another inauguration, 2027. It could be Bola Tinubu, another person. What will the person promise? What will the result be a year later? 2031, or Buhari or Jonathan, with their names. In 1989, Obasanjo talked about having a single state, a single party in the Nigerian state. That if he had advantage post-1979, he will not prescribe a multi-party system. The overhyping of contestation of power across party divide is part of the challenge this country has. Liberal democracy has lost its historical promise in Africa. We don't seem to understand. We discuss with you today every bit of Bola Tinubu's promise or pledge and what happened 1 year. I'm going to do that with you.
So will you have preferred a rigidity of the kind of system, the communist and the orientation of the Chinese, the Russian tendency? Is that what you have?
It is not rigidity. What Obasanjo, for example, talked about, what he's talking about now, rethinking liberal democracy in Africa, the invasion of liberal democratic principles and values, has it done us more harm or good? Why are we, Shegu, you and I, 25 years, with how many presidencies? Obasanjo himself, Yar'Adua, Jonathan, Buhari, and Bola Tinubu, and we are discussing the barest minimum condition for state survival. In 25 years, quarter of a century, something must be wrong, not even with the electoral system, with the entire systemic approach to governance and democracy. Take a pause at Bola Tinubu, what he did, what he won. I know this thing will come up. In 1979, Shagari won election with 33% of the vote. He knew he hasn't got a mandate, no legislative ability to govern. He had a pact with MPP. He formulated a partnership to govern, the barest minimum condition to govern. 83, he had 47. He felt strong enough to do it alone. 93, Abiola had 58%. He didn't live to see his presidency in fruition. 99, Obasanjo had 62% of the vote. How many voters turned out? 52%. 2003, Obasanjo had 61% of the vote. 69% voter turnout. 2007, Yar'Adua, 69% of the vote. It can move on and on to Bola Tinubu 2023. 220 or 30 million Nigerians. 93 million registered voters or thereabout. What was the turnout? 26% of 93 million.
Abysmal.
What did he score? 36.6% of the vote. 36% not of 230 million, of 36% of 26% of 93 million. There is no mandate. In that sense, with all the disputes about the election rested, I have no problem with it. He's rested. Supreme Court has spoken. He is the president. But this president has only 36% of the vote. In mathematical terms, a failure. In that sense, what do? What Obasanjo did in 1999, even with 50-something% to the vote. The country was coming from deep crisis. The nation had virtually collapsed because of the contestation between Abiodun and Abacha. We have become a pariah state. I can do it alone, but I will not do it alone. He created the Office of Inter-Party as a clearinghouse for party disputes. And he appointed the chairman of APP, Mahmoud Waziri, as the first advisor, almost to the cabinet rank position. He now brought Uncle Bola Ige of AD, my party, SK Babalola, and ultimately later, he Zife, just of blessed memory, including the daughter of the very leader then, Abraham Adesanya, into his cabinet, brought in shut off APP to build some sort of cohesive government of national unity, to build first a lead consensus as a means of developing national consensus.
We have a government
that is where
of
we
national...
should be beginning now, that you have 36% of 93 million.
So there is no national acceptance.
That's the point. It's not about electricity.
There's
it's not about road.
People who voted President Bola Tinubu.
It does not reflect. It's not his problem.
Isn't that a failure of the Nigerian people who sit at home, who sit back and never...
It is not their failure. It is the failure of the way the constitution is drafted. If 200,000 people were to participate in the presidential election and the winner is declared, he'll be running around the country implementing policies.
There are Federal House of Reps members that were voted into office with less than 5,000 votes.
And he's there making law for the nation on behalf of his constituency, primarily, and on behalf of the nation.
I don't know if you
did
you see a video of someone who was describing a school under a thatch roof?
I saw that.
That
is amazing.
It's the most disgusting.
It's absurd. It's amazing.
It's something that the nation has to sit down and we start to think about where we are as a people. It is disgusting with the kind of money that we have.
If we glean now about Bola Tinubu's, organic problems are there. They are natural. It's part of the cause and effect relationship in the system. It's dialectical in nature. You can sort them out. But they're constructed problems, mostly by the elite. So with all the beautiful things you have on the economic front, and the political front, and security front, without the buy-in of the totality of the elite, you will never solve those problems. They do not exacerbate it from the behind, from the back. So whatever you have in terms of how do you retool the economy, retool the financial system, retool the monetary policy, get the naira to stabilize, it will be destroyed because people feel alienated. The first step for this government to do is not late, in 1 year scorecard. Get back the Office of Inter-Party Relations and Office of what they call civil society relations. If you have an office where civil society elements, go there to knock on the door of somebody with the ear of the president. These are the problems we have. These are the issues we have at the civic level. Over issue of media rights, journalists being arrested, constitutional rights, protection of human dignity. The Inter-Party is where all the political parties, including opposition parties, come to clear their problems. And it gets to the ear of those in power. It reduces tension. Why have you asked yourself under 80 years of Buhari? I've never seen inside the villa leaders of interfaith, regional organizations, nationality groups, youth coming there to converse with the president on live TV, covered by people like you. It goes a long way to douse tension, to reduce that sense of explosion, that sense of alienation. So what this government should be thinking now is that I had, as the president, 36% of the vote, of only 26% of 93 million.
Yeah,
so I may need now to say, Atiku Abubakar lives somewhere in Abuja. I don't need, because I know him. I don't need him to like me because of I'm the president. He better be happy. I knock on his door. I know you're in there. Come out. We must talk. It will be, what is it, in Abuja or Onitsha? Fly there.
Even for the photo ops value of it, if followers of this person see the president meeting with Peter Obi, Atiku Abubakar...
He must reach out to them. It's a duty as the president. I don't believe those who say that politics is over with governance when you have elections settled. Yes, elections are over. Politics is a daily exercise of beingness. The essence of this conversation is political. The ideas we're sharing are political. Karl Marx said, the history of every hitherto existing society is the history of class struggle, which are primarily economic. But every class struggle is political struggle.
So you think that if Bola Tinubu, Atiku Abubakar, and Peter Obi sit in the same room, they come out of that room, it will go a long way. It
doesn't reduce your power as the president. It enhances it.
Let's take a breather on that, Prof. We'll go on a short break. But when we come back, all of what we're talking about is the essence is if governance is right, the lives of the people are better for it. If the president does well, we as a people we'll be better for it. And so let's have this conversation. But this is going to be after this break, everyone. Join us again. So much. Professor Udenta, a founding national secretary of the Alliance for Democracy, has been speaking with me right here in our studio. We're talking more. Don't forget that May 29 is also significantly the day we began the Fourth Republic. So now talking about governance, talking about the president 1 year in office, everything just makes a lot of sense, isn't it? And I mean, we're talking off the cameras about that coup and that video, and as much as we're able to verify the authenticity and the veracity of that video that's gone viral now, I would love to be able to have a conversation with those that are responsible. Absolutely. Because there are a lot of the times people put their eyes on the federal government, but some of these facilities and infrastructures are supposed to be done by the state and local council. And I saw the suit or the legal action by the Attorney General of the Federation, where he has led the federal government to institute a legal action against the governors of the 36 states of the Federation at the Supreme Court over alleged misconduct in the administration of local government areas. And it boils down to one thing: independence of the third tier and the closer tier of government to the Nigerian people.
Now, I watched that video and I shuddered. Like you said, it's not been properly verified. I have not verified it. I don't even have the technical ability or the means and reach your institution has to do the verification. But please, I urge you and your team to do that exercise, so Nigerians will get from such, an authentic and highly appreciated platform like yours to give more bite and more visibility to what is a solid state of the nation, not just of that local government or that rural community. It's the state of the nation.
It happens
that is
every
what
state of the federation, where you find schools, hospitals.
And if you add that to the suit, by the Attorney General, I read that suit line by line, almost all the issues he raised before the Supreme Court in an originating summon, and I smiled briefly. Let's be honest about it, and I speak with a sense of responsibility, as I have many governors who are my friends. Power has been medievalized at the subnational level in many regards. The medievalization of power by governance is a testament to the chaotic and sometimes dysfunctional nature of our democracy. In spite of the so-called federal behemoth of Obasanjo, Yar'Adua, Jonathan, Buhari, and now Bola Tinubu, you have possibly sometimes a lively National Assembly that could put its feet down and said, enough of the excesses of the executive branch or executive rascality. It happened with the 8th Senate under Bukola Saraki. There was actually the moment in which democracy developed substantially that the National Assembly could put its feet down and said, we are partners with you, but this is how far we can go in supporting what we believe is unconstitutional. Don't forget too, that the entire diplomatic missions are here in Abuja watching the president and his team. The powerful media organizations like yours and others are here. This constrains the power of the presidency. The subnational level, nobody watches the governors.
How do you look at
the governors, of course, supported the local councils and the state assembly in many regards. But one is actually a historic first. A River State, I don't know whether that's still an assembly, is giving orders to the governor. It's almost an abnormality. There's some faction there that say people said I'm not supposed to even be there. But with that kind of exception, the governors actually appoint their people as speakers, appoint their people as majority leaders, they select who becomes the local government chairman, they dissolve the councils at will and so on. So yes, to an extent, the suit by the Attorney General could deepen democracy of a sort. But the governors on their own, say, look, the third tier is not fully developed as a tier. The Supreme Court, of course, I'm not a lawyer, we look into this one and say, is it fully a tier or is it a dependent tier serviced by the state government, organized by them, is superintended by the state government? That is why they have the so-called joint account, the State and Local Government Service Commission, etc., operated at the subnational level, managing the local government affairs. These are the issues that may be constitutional in nature. But the point I'm making is that power somehow has been over-concentrated in the hands of the governors, even beyond that of the president. Because the president can be under checks and balances by the media, by international community, by public opinion, by civic elements. At the state level, sometimes these things are absent.
The executive order 10 under President Buhari, one thought that would have given more bite on and given teeth to the activities and the powers of the local government, where we see the subversion of the activities. If you look into the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, it is stated the roles and responsibility of the local government, sanitary, some basic health issues. And growing up, I remember some of the roles that local councils were taking up, but it looks like they've gone into total oblivion. They are elected into office. In some states, they've not even held local government council election in years.
Yes, it is. Now, let me put it this way, and this is not a Nigerian problem. The Constitution, as powerful as it is a guide. Sorry to say in a very powerful program like this. Ojo Madekwa, blessed memory, as Obasanjo's special advisor on legal affairs, was on air in one of the major studios and said, I don't know whether I will be sacked by my boss. But let me put it this way, no president can afford to exercise over 30% of the powers allocated to him in the Constitution, or he becomes a monster. The Constitution is actually a document we put out there, but in operating the Constitution, in practicalizing it at the level of praxis, we good shit. In America, the theory of forbearance, that means we understand what the Constitution says. On the one hand, we know the practice and the norms and traditions over the centuries. These things are the things we do outside the Constitution. That's why it's constitutional requirements. Even this matter in the court, you'll be surprised that tomorrow that matter could be withdrawn. Because the governors have been biting back. And the president will say, okay, you're taking us to court over this matter. We have one or two things we can do to pull you. And then when we pull you, we can create some distance, some sense of alienation between us and the center. What happens? You go and use alternative dispute resolution mechanisms to sort out some of this mess. It's part of the express provision of the Constitution.
Oh, but Prof, it comes a time that those who believe, and I'm a very strong believer on the fact that we do not need 100 people to change Nigeria. We do not even need 2 people to change Nigeria. One person can lead that change that we have wished and prayed for in this country.
The problem,
could this be President Tinubu?
The problem is that the capacity to effect true and lasting change is beyond the potential of an individual. It's systemic in nature. Let me tell you.
But the most revolution that we've seen around the globe, mention all the revolutions, the most changes that we have seen, practical, radical changes that we have seen, has been led by one person who saw the vision.
Not one single man will lead the revolution.
But when you have a vision as a leader, can't you lead?
You can have a vision, but they are constrained by the institutions, the structures and apparatuses built within a system, the social formation. Politics, like I said to you earlier at the beginning here, may be the effect of economic causes, or politics is the cause of economic effects. You see it as a president and you take a decision. That decision impacts on somebody in Sokoto, maybe the traditional institution, there's somebody in Onitsha, somebody in Yoruba land, somebody in the Middle Belt. Resistance will come from different angles. So what do you do? You negotiate every single time on where do I sign this project? Who do I appoint there? What do I do with the economy? How do I manage the monetary system? Everything is negotiation. That is why political economy is very important.
But Prof,
and when you do that,
let us in. Does this government look in the last 1 year? Because if you are on a path, you could actually be in the path to the right or to the wrong place.
Let me put it this way. If a nation is in search of a theme, then the government is in search of a mission. This Bola Tinubu government. This nation is in search of a theme. A theme is like a center in the ontology of the political system. This is what I'm saying. What is the center of this ontology? It's not existing for now. Why are we searching for nationness and national belonging? It's lacking. Where does history take us? We don't know. The presidential system is a road to nowhere. So this.
What should we be having?
Now,
what is the right?
In a sense, when you have these omissions and gaps and lacunas, and the president comes in to thunder powerful policy visions with audacity and courage, people put their hands on the jaw watching, and they see unravel before their eyes the promises and potentials of that presidency. That's what happened in the past 1 year. When he said the fuel subsidy is gone with audacious hope, the idea is that everything will click in that direction. The system will move, labor will move, civic groups will move, national groups will move, entrepreneurs will move. They can move in that direction because the impact will be instantaneous. What do you have in terms of policy formulations? That the primary level of policy in terms of what do I do to cushion it? What do I do at the midterm? What do I do in the long run? Once they're lacking, there is no way you can realize.
But does the president look like someone who has the audacity?
Let me put it this way. Whatever you say about this president, in some regards, you can say, okay, is the audaciousness, the audacity misplaced or just hopeful wish? But the fact of saying it is gone, and when it took every other president years and years of agonizing and said, let this sleeping dog lie, and he said, it is gone, the mistake is not in that audacious comment and the consequences, economically speaking, socially speaking, thereof, including national stability and social security of the people. The problem is they didn't rally the nation round quickly, principally labor and civic groups, and said, this is what I've done. Actually,
on that front, there is
a massive gap, because for 1 year now, that contestation persists. That's why the fuel, that's why the negotiation on the wage, living wage, becoming problematic.
It has a dovetailing effect on every aspect of life, economy,
absolutely. And he moved on quickly to say, we have to float the naira. Maybe the mindset of those who are around the president, the narrow group, because as I said, having the weakness of the system as it is, having the exhaustion, the promises of the liberal democracy, and having equally the lack of in the breadth in the so-called victory of 2023, the effects could have been to take this kind of momentous decision will require the input of everybody, including my political enemies. This is what I'm going to do for the good of the nation. I want you, the leadership of a PDP, to give me your own views, your own ideas. It's not a parliamentary system, it's a presidential system. That means we can work hand together and can still quarter the level of policy disputes. Or be in the Labour Party, an insurgent group that took the nation by storm. What do you have to say on this? Let it be on them that you want their support and they don't want to give it to you. Labour, sorry I did not speak to you, but I wanted the nation to hear my voice as a president. I want you on board now. Let us sit down and work this matter out.
Can the president reflect that in his May 29 speech?
Of course he should.
Will you change things?
Of course he should.
I mean, do you see a gap in the communication strategy of this government? I mean, they are talking, but are they communicating? They have strategic communication ideas.
I can,
you see,
as a patriot, like I said, as a patriot, we watch our children. Our children is this democracy growing, even when the behavior is errant. And sometimes they are trumped behavior of children. What do? You keep loving them. So we have to keep loving this democracy, which we incarnated in 1999. To that degree, I can say, presidential communication strategy works well when there is a pushback and the president responds with his team. Look at the list of the governing council of the universities, etc. He put it out there, gave a time and a date for this. He said, look, no.
That too.
We have to put this in back and again renegotiate with all the constituencies and all the critical stakeholders there. Put it back. That is almost like a first in Nigeria. Take again, not only that, some appointments made, including ministerial. Somehow or the other, I made a mistake here, I didn't work out well. Put it back and then replace. That level of communication is very important and is working well. The other one that is overbearing, tendentious and outlandishly, maybe ideology inflamed comments by certain presidential spokesperson. The other one is, again, when they have the modeled presidential messaging. It weakens the power of the president, it reduces the impact of the presidency, it creates dysfunction. That's the way patriots have to present the picture. But the most important thing for me is, what do we do with this inheritance? What do we do with an Afro-centered democratic practice our scholars can begin to dig out? What do we do with the liberal democrats that seem to have run its muffled historical course?
Let me pause you for a moment, Prof. We'll go on another break, but when we come back, I'll get your closing remark on the way forward for our country, especially under this president. I mean, it's a 1 year, 3 more years to go. 1 year out of those 3 years is going to be majorly politics, but he has 2 years substantially to be able to make a drastic and a fundamental change. How will he achieve that? You'll be giving us your thoughts on that when we return from this break, everyone. Join us again. So much. Now, our closing moment with Professor Udenta. Prof, where do we go from here? If this government or this president must effect a landmark achievement and leave a legacy for Nigeria, considering what he has done in 1 year, what should he be focusing on going forward?
He should seek help.
He needs help?
He needs a lot of help. There's nothing shameful about seeking for help. The country is in trouble. The nation is in distress. That means his presidency is in trouble. So he needs help. The first help will come from his political enemies or opponents, not enemies. He knows Atiku Abubakar very well. And I do know they know themselves.
What would Atiku Abubakar do for him?
He say what is beyond what he will do for him. He has a large constituency too. Those who are bitter, who are angry, they need to see him calm. So when he talked to people like that and said, hey, you're an entrepreneur, you're a business guy, you understand the system like I do. We're friends. It's part of the disconnect.
Even with the ideological differences.
It's about the country. You're patriots. Unless you're not a patriot anymore. Both of them should be patriots. So talk to Atiku. Talk to P2B. He's come with a new energy. He's come with a new mindset. And let me put this to you clearly on this platform. P2B is eminently qualified and fit to be president. Not today, not only today, in the time to come, 2027, 2031. Nobody anywhere in the country will say he's not fit to be president. He's fit to be president. The president should seek him and say, you've come from nowhere apparently, and you've gone this far. We need to sit down and talk about the country. Let the media even cover it. That is a conversation of peers. That's number one. Number two, there is no help coming from the IMF or Washington Consensus. They want to beat the state down. They want the state to retreat so that they can impose their messy structural adjustment programs that never worked anywhere. So think less in terms of what Washington Consensus will give you, what kind of promotion they will give you.
It doesn't look like this government had entered that trap.
I'm saying that it's not too late to get out. It's not too late to come out of it in order to rebalance the liberalism and privatization equally with the social mission of government in a developmental format. That's the second. Seek for help in that direction. Don't go crash on with a taxation, floating the naira, remove all the subsidies, increase tariff on the city. It will not work. 3, look beyond their comfort zones. If you ask me for some names of people I said, not even appointment in government, people should talk to. Part of the time is an independent thinker. You know him very well. He knows him very well. He's a sound mind in concept, political economy. Seek him out. Jibri, Ibrahim, he's a professor of political science and international relations from Kano somewhere. Seek him out. Chidode Kano has written a lot about the legal system, even though they seem so damning. He's a patriot. Professor Mamadi, these are people who I know. And these are people who are proud to be part of not part of government, part of the conversation about Nigeria. And if the government is serious, open your eyes.
Prof, thank you so much.